Hey there! And Halloween is right around the corner, so I decided to get a little comfortable and read some spooky stories. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, what spooky stories could you possibly be reading? Well, that's easy. Top 10 video games that won't get you laid. Real spooky stuff right here. Well, we're gonna be here a while, so get comfy and maybe possibly get some snacks. And we're gonna read top 10 video games that will not get you laid. Chapter 1. Luigi's Mansion. They really should have called this top 10 video games that will get you laid. That's probably the scariest part about this. Now, before we continue with this book, I just want to get something out of the way. In my opinion, Luigi's Mansion is probably one of the best and most unique Mario spin-offs of quite literally all time. It's a very obscure game, not only for a Mario game, but for video games in general. The gameplay of Luigi's Mansion is really unlike anything that had ever really been seen before, and to this day, nothing has yet to actually duplicate the magic that is Luigi's Mansion. Except maybe the sequels. Luigi's Mansion was revealed at E3 2001 alongside the GameCube, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Pikmin, and a ton of tech demos. When Luigi's Mansion was first unveiled, it was met with a bit of mixed reception, but one thing Luigi's Mansion did get some praise for was its graphics. Even though Luigi's Mansion is a 6th gen game, it looks really good. Between the lighting and all the little details, if you were to dump this on a more modern console, it would actually look really good. Oh yeah, that's right. Now, watching the E3 trailer, you might have noticed some differences between that version of the game and the final game. Now, you've all probably heard the spiel of what's different and what's not a million times before, so I'm not going to bother going over them because, well, you're smart people, you've heard it, and they're what's called unimportant details. We don't need to hear them again. Anyway. Luigi's Mansion doesn't have the most complex gameplay in the world. The game is basically just walk around a spooky house, collect money, keys, some of Mario's items, and suck up some ghosts along the way. The ghosts will sometimes have little gimmicks that you have to figure out in order to catch them. Yep. Real complex stuff. The story behind Luigi's Mansion is about as complex as the gameplay. The game opens with Luigi walking up to a real spooky mansion. You get inside and there aren't very many places to go. One door is barred and the other two are locked. After checking the large door at the top of the stairs, a cloudy apparition appears with a key. After dropping the key like an idiot, it flies into the room that you just checked. Get the key, go upstairs, unlock the door, and BAM! A mugging. But don't worry, an old man with a vacuum to the rescue! After temporarily chasing away the ghosts, we learn that this old fart with a vacuum is named Professor Egad. After the ghost returned, Luigi and Egad run away to his shed. Lab. We learn that Luigi won the mansion in a contest he didn't enter, but we also learn that the mansion is most likely a trap because it didn't exist a few days ago. Oh, and also Mario went into the mansion and hasn't been seen since, but that doesn't matter because you gotta catch some ghouls. After a bit of poltergeist training, that's the name of the vacuum by the way, and learning that Egad thought it would be a good idea to keep ghosts and paintings, we make our way back to the mansion. When re-entering the mansion, we are greeted with a near-identical sight to the one that we saw when we first booted up the game, except now there's a toad. These toads are kind of all over the mansion, and all they really let you do is save the game, but later they become a bit obsolete. And always remember, when playing GameCube games, always have a memory card, because somebody thought this thing was a good idea. Anyways, we make our way back up to where we first met Egad, blow out some candles, catch some ghosts, and get a key. Then we move to the next room, catch some ghosts, then to the next room, catch some more ghosts, and you guessed it, get another key. So after we get back to the foyer, we move to the second smaller door on the second floor, and this is where the game really starts to pick up pace. But before we enter the door, EGAD calls us, telling us to be careful because the ghosts in this hall are a lot stronger than the ones that we encountered so far. And they are. The ghosts we see in this hall are the first of the portrait ghosts. Portrait ghosts are the mini/main area bosses of the game. Some are optional, but most are required. Each ghost is unique in both their design and how you have to catch them. For example, the first ghost, Neville, will disappear when you look at him, but he won't when he's yawning. The second ghost, Lydia, is doing her hair, so what do? Well, open the curtains blocking the broken windows so you can let in the wind and mess up her hair, of course. Duh. The third portrait ghost, Chauncey, is what is called an area boss. These kinds of ghosts mark the end of an area. Most of the area bosses require you to complete some kind of task in order to activate the fight. Chauncey, for example, when entering his room is asleep, but you can't catch him. In order to wake Chauncey, you use the poltergust to shake his rocking horse, and after he's woken, then you blast his face off with a ball. Chauncey's fight itself is pretty easy. It should be. He's the first boss. Avoid the rocking horses and proceed to blast his face off again with balls. After beating Chauncey, you're rewarded with a key to the next area and a break back at EGAD's lab. Once returning to the lab, we are introduced to the machine that turns all the ghosts back into painting. Once all the ghosts are turned back into paintings, our rank for each ghost is revealed and Area 2 starts. Area 2 allows Luigi to access the rest of the first floor, so go to the bathroom, fight some ghosts, then skedaddle to the ballroom to suck up the Shy Guy dance group that is there, and then deal with the next portrait ghosts, the floating whirlwinds. And I cannot for the life of me figure out how to actually deal with these two. I do a bit of flashing, a bit of blowing, a bit of sucking, and nothing. I continue this process until randomly they just start getting sucked up.
Who wrote this? Oh.
Well, after dealing with our fourth portrait ghost, we catch a few more ghosts, press a few buttons, and then we're introduced to the game's main collectible and antagonists, the boos. There are about 50 boos in total, and you actually only have to collect 40 in order to beat the game, but all 50 are required in order to get the best possible ending. While Luigi's Mansion can't be credited in creating the boos, it can be credited in the creation of the game's main antagonist and DeviantArt OC, King Boo. We don't get to see much of King Boo or his lackeys because of the fact we have the Ghost Sucker, and it scares them. After all the boos escape, we get a call from EGAD. He scolds us for being a klutz and letting all the ghosts get away, and then we're called back to the lab. Once we're back, EGAD comes to the amazing conclusion that it must have been the boos that made the mansion, and they must have been the ones who got Mario. EGAD also equips us with a boo tracker and sends us back to the mansion. Once back inside, we have to catch some boos before progressing. You have to catch at least 5 boos. After you do that, the washroom will open and give us another key and another toad.
Yeah, remember earlier when I said the toads would become kind of pointless? Yeah, this is when it happens.
After you catch a boo, EGAD will call and congratulate you on your catch. After that, you're immediately thrown into a save menu. Anyways, the key that you get opens the door to the fortune teller room, which holds the next portrait ghost, Madame Clairvoyante. Now, unlike the other portrait ghosts, you don't actually go right into the catching with Madame Clairvoyante, but instead she offers to help you. Bring her items and she'll give you a fortune. Once you're finished with that, you'll fight some more ghosts, get the fire element medal, tackle Shivers in the butler room, catch Melody the pianist in the conservatory, don't forget the boos, and after all of that you go into the dining room. In the dining room is Mr. Luggs. Luggs is the first optional portrait ghost. I could have left him, but he makes a really annoying noise, so... Once in the kitchen, you fight the first elemental ghost, get the water element, go to the backyard, catch Mr. Bones and Spooky the dog, and then BAM! You're fighting the second area ghost, Bogmire. Bogmire is actually pretty easy. When I was younger, before I owned a GameCube memory card, the farthest I had gotten was Mr. Luggs. I didn't know he was optional, and just like the ghosts in the ballroom, I could not figure out how to actually catch them. But unlike the ballroom ghosts, I could never just get lucky. Because of this fat turd spitting out fireballs, I would always die. But I always remembered seeing clips and screenshots of the Bogmire fight and thinking it was going to be really hard, but when I actually got to do it, it wasn't. Anyways, beat Bogmire, get a key, go back to EGAD, bam, Area 3.
There's still a lot to this, and we're running out of time. So we're going to do this the old-fashioned way and speedrun it.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Enter the mansion, go to the door in the back by the bathroom, open it, fall down the well, find out Mario is trapped in a painting, ironic, isn't it? Find another optional portrait ghost, I think his name is Biff. Find the ice element, go look through a telescope, get a star, and then you can take it to Madame the gypsy lady. But you don't have to do it now. I'll skip some unimportant steps so we can go beat the piss out of Nana. I'll skip some more unimportant stuff so that we can beat the twins.
Let's be honest. Who doesn't love bullying children?
Don't forget the booze, make sure you have all Mario's crap, and go talk to Madame Clairvoyant.
Probably should have mentioned where those were at. I'm sure it's fine.
After talking with her, she's completely content with going back to her painting, but she still puts up a fight for some reason. Once that's done and over with, you can go to the attic, fight some of the most frustrating ghosts, and the most frustrating boss in the entire game, Boolossus. This boss isn't even difficult, it's just annoying. Boolossus is basically a giant boo that has built up a bunch of little boos. In the arena where you fight him, there are 2 unicorn statues that you have to pull Boolossus to. You pop him on the statues and then use the nifty ice element you got earlier to freeze and capture all the scattered boos. This part is easy at first, but as the fight goes on, the boos get harder and harder to collect because there are less and less boos. Eventually they're all caught and the physical pain will eventually leave, but the mental pain will never leave you. Anyways, get a key, go back to EGAD, and then get thrown right back into the mansion.
It's the never-ending cycle that only lasts about 5.5 to 7 hours.
Once back in the mansion, we make our way back to the balcony on floor 3 where we fought Boolossus, just like the door in the foyer and the first floor hallway. The second door on the balcony has one of those weird ghost vine cage things. After the cage is removed, lightning strikes the mansion, causing the power to go out. Now, because of the power going out, the ghosts are able to just roam free throughout the mansion.
You have never truly experienced hell until you've played all the way through the blackout sequence in Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo GameCube. And maybe Marble Zone and Sonic 1, but I'm not talking about that one right now.
It is so hard to get anywhere during this because every time a ghost appears, Luigi does this little jump that temporarily stuns him. Also, during this section, there's something really strange that happens that a lot of conspiracy theorists actually decided to put their hats on for. During the blackout sequence, if you go to the telephone room, one of the phones will start ringing. If you answer it, Toad will start speaking, but if you wait long enough, lightning will flash, revealing a floating shadow. Many people have speculated that the shadow seems to be linked to Luigi. That means he probably hung himself. And all of this is just Luigi's purgatory. But are there any other clues around the mansion to support this theory?
No.
I'm no game development expert, but what I do know is that the camera in Luigi's Mansion isn't really meant to be at this angle, especially in this room. This is just a weird rendering issue due to the wonky camera angle. Anyways, to get back on topic, to turn the power back on, you first have to catch another portrait ghost by the name of Uncle Grimly. This is probably the easiest portrait ghost to catch, even if he's this late in the game. After the touchy uncle is caught, go to the basement and turn the power back on. Go catch the rest of the boos and then the rest of the portrait ghosts, maybe do a bit of exploring to get some more money, and then go fight King Boo. Can I say that even though King Boo is just a boo with eyeshadow and a Chaos Emerald glued to his head, he looks actually really cool. Out of all the King Boo designs we've gotten over the years, this one is easily my favorite, and it just keeps getting better with each Luigi's Mansion entry. The King Boo fight itself isn't really that difficult. It's one of those more flashy than hard fights, but don't get the wrong idea about this fight. It does have a bit of its own challenge to it, as, well, all final fights should. but it also looks really cool. We duke it out on the roof with the fires of hell all around us, and King Boo uses a giant Bowser to attempt to crush us. Oh yeah, Bowser's in this. Madame Clairvoyant mentioned something about Bowser when talking to her about Mario's stuff. So, how do you beat the King Boo Bowser combo? I hear you asking? Well, it's quite simple. The Bowser mech will throw these spike bombs at Luigi. You have to pick them up with the poltergust and hold on to them. After the bombs have been thrown, Bowser will charge, but right before he rams Luigi, Bowser will stop and lean down to attempt to suck up Luigi. When he does this, launch the bombs at Bowser's head, blowing it right off. After that is done, King Boo will come crawling out of the mech, and then that's your chance to catch him. Go to town on him with the poltergust and avoid the ice balls being launched at you by Bowser. Eventually, King Boo's health will reach 0, and victory is ours. Get the Mario painting, take him back to EGAD, and turn King Boo and the rest of the portrait ghosts into paintings, and return Mario back to normal from a painting. And then you get to watch Luigi cry with joy. And you get to watch the credits, and you get your overall final rank for beating the game.
And that was Luigi's Mansion, aka a pretty great game. And honestly, my only complaint is the booze, which can be a bit annoying at times, but other than that, this is a solid experience from point A to point B, even if there is only about 5.5 to 7 hours worth of content in this game. Top 10 video games that will not get you laid. This title couldn't be more wrong. Let's fix that. Kinda need that. You know, it was wrong about the first game. This is a pretty good game. I wonder what Chapter 2 is. Chapter 2, League of Legends. I should not have just done what I have just done.